What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is a new video about the M1 MAX MacBook Pro. There's been a couple of videos out there on YouTube about video editing on the M1 MAX, but most of them cover either Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve, and there's some videos out there that cover Premiere, but not in that much detail. As we know from last year when the original M1s came out, everyone was raving about how fast the editing was, but then Sarah Dietschy brought us all back down to earth, us Premiere Pro users, when she said that it actually wasn't that great for Premiere Pro at the time. But I've invested in an M1 MAX MacBook Pro, and we're going to put it through its paces today. So there's a few different tests we're going to be doing, and we're going to be comparing it to my custom build PC, which is a 3070 graphics card, 3950X CPU, and 32 gigabytes of RAM. So we're just going to be comparing the two, and already I can see the differences are pretty crazy. So first up, what we're going to be doing is a Puget Bench. I can't even say Puget. A Puget Bench. I should really give up YouTube. Okay, so we're going to be running a few different tests today. The first is going to be a Puget Bench test. Basically, it puts Premiere Pro through its paces, and then it generates a score for each machine, so we can compare those scores. Then we're going to be testing the opening times of Premiere Pro and just see if it opens any quicker than the PC. The next test will be a real-world project. So it's a YouTube video I've edited before. We're going to be opening that, seeing how well it scrubs in different qualities, and then we're going to be exporting that to see if it exports quicker either on the M1 or the PC. Finally, I've got a project file with all kinds of different formats in there, including A7S3 10-bit, R5, and I've also tested it with some 8K Monstro footage as well. So we're going to be going through how well it deals with that. But let's just click run benchmark and see what happens with the scores. It's Future Chris here, and I'm just finishing up editing this video, and I wanted to go through the Puget Bench scores with you. I didn't film it because it's quite a long process, didn't want to sit there and wait for it. So the PC got 836 in the Puget Bench score, and the MacBook got 1038. So it's about 20 to 25% speed difference. Let's see if that actually matches up in the real world. A quick note as well, make sure you stick around to the end because the tests between the PC and the MacBook are quite similar until it comes to that R5 8K footage where everything changes. Okay, so for this test, all I wanted to do is just basically open Premiere Pro on both machines and just see if one of them loads faster than the other. I'm not sure if it will, and there won't be probably much of a difference, but let's just get them both up here. And then 3, 2, 1. So the M1 definitely loaded quicker. I wasn't expecting that to be that much quicker. It was a good couple of seconds. Not much difference, but let's now check it with a real life project. Okay, so I've got my real world project up. It's basically a YouTube video I made from a couple of weeks ago on the DJI Action 2. I've already put it on both machines and opened it to make sure everything's linked up. Okay, so let's just open them on both machines and see which one loads faster. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I did have some effects missing there which generated that pop-up and did mess up the timings a little bit, but overall I'd say the two machines pretty much opened it in the same amount of time there. Okay, so now we're in the project. I'm going to do some scrubbing tests. This is mainly A7S3 10-bit 420, not 422, which is actually a lot smoother as it is. But we're going to be testing that, and there's also some DJI Action 2 footage in here. DJI footage is notoriously hard to edit for these machines. We've also got some adjustment layers and a few different graphics in there as well, which I'll get onto in a minute. So we're at full quality on the PC, scrubbing through. I mean, it all looks pretty good. I've got a missing file there, but that's on both machines as well. And then if I play it, as you see, it's playing in full quality pretty well. And most of that is 10-bit 420, but as soon as it hits that graphic, it does slow it down quite a lot, and it never really recovers from that. So moving on to the M1 Mac. So again, scrubbing through that same footage on the M1 Max. 16-inch is absolutely fine in full quality as it should be. And let's do a play test. So still really smooth. Let's go over to that title. And you'll see that the title doesn't slow it down as much. Oh, it is struggling a little bit there actually. But then it does pick it back up again. So the graphics do kind of slow it down a little bit at full quality. If we drop it down to half quality and then try that again. It's more or less perfect. So both machines pretty much performing exactly the same with A7 S3 10-bit 420 footage with some adjustment layers and some graphics in there as well. And that's kind of to be expected with the speed of the 3070 and that kind of thing. But now what we're going to do is export this and see if there's a difference between the two in timings. Okay, so the settings I'm going to be using for the export, I'm going to go to the YouTube 2160p 4K Ultra HD, and that's one pass at 40 megabits. Okay, and let's hit export on both machines. Start the timer and see how quickly it exports. So I know I didn't mention it before, but this is a 6-minute project. And the M1 Max is just finishing now. 4 minutes and 32 seconds. Now let's wait for the PC and see how well that does. Can you hear that? That's the sound of the fans on the PC at the moment. It's crazy loud. We're just finishing up now on the PC. You hear the fans going absolutely crazy. We're at 100%. And there we go. So the Windows PC finished in 8 minutes and 26 seconds, and the M1 Max finished in 4 minutes and 32 seconds. So, you know, that's almost double the speed. Now, I don't think 8 minutes is that bad for a 6-minute project. By the time you've, you know, gone to the toilet, made yourself a cup of coffee, maybe you made a thumbnail, the 8 minutes is up and you're done. And it's easily quick enough that you can just make a couple of changes, go back and export it again. It's really not a problem. But I'm actually amazed at how fast these M1 Max MacBooks are at exporting. From my experience, I think the thing that holds back the Windows PC from exporting faster is these sort of essential graphics. I don't think it handles them very well, and it sort of stumbles over them a little bit every now and then. But yeah, I'm very impressed with the M1 Max there. So let's try and export again in a different setting. So before we export again, it's a good time to tell you that the M1 Max has been doing all of this on 100% battery power, not plugged in at all. And when I started this video, it had 68% battery, and now it has 58%. So in that entire time, it's used 10% battery, which is mad. Again, this is a 16-inch. I know the 14-inch does guzzle through battery a little bit if you do get the M1 Max, but 10% in that time is pretty crazy. Okay, so now we're going to go in and export in ProRes 422. Okay, so we're ready to export. So 3, 2, 1. And I don't know if you heard the PC fans going off earlier, but I can tell you that the M1 Max fans haven't gone off once. And I've been editing on this for like 3 days and exporting and, you know, putting it through all kinds of tests, and I've not heard the fans once yet. So I'm starting to wonder if it's even got fans in it. Again, pretty impressive that it does all of this silently on battery with no fans. Okay, so halftime talk, we are at 59% on the PC and 45% on the M1 Max. It's kind of a shocking result for me. I was expecting ProRes 422 to be quicker on the M1 Max, but it seems to be quicker on the PC at the moment. Whether that continues in the second half, we'll find out. All right, as we head into the last minute on the PC now, the Mac is getting crazy hot. I still can't hear any fans. So I don't know why the fans aren't kicking at this point, because it is very hot, but obviously you can probably hear the fans from the PC still going absolutely crazy. So even though the Mac is a little bit behind, it's still completely silent and on battery power at the moment. So let's just see how it turns out. All right, so the PC is now finishing up, and that finished in 9 minutes and 19 seconds. So the Mac is still going. It looks like it's got a minute left and it's on 89%. Let's just wait for that to finish so we can compare the results. Okay, the Mac's just finishing up now. 4 seconds left. And we're done. So the PC finished in 9 minutes and 19 seconds. and the Mac finished in 10 minutes and 33 seconds. I'm actually a little bit confused. I thought the MacBook would handle ProRes 422 better than the PC. So I don't know much about these things, so maybe if you can let me know down below in the comments why this might be. Obviously the MacBook isn't a miracle machine or anything like that, but I was genuinely expecting ProRes to be faster on this machine. All right, this is where it gets interesting. So I've got a Premiere Pro project here with all kinds of different formats, from A7 III 8-bit footage to A7S III 10-bit in 420, to A7S III 10-bit in 422, and R5 10-bit as well. I've also got a couple of 8K Monstro clips, but I don't think I can show them due to copyright. I'm not actually sure, but I will feed back on how they played on each machine. So let's get straight into it on the PC, and let's start with the easy stuff. So at the moment we're on A7 III footage. So as you can see, in full quality, A7 III footage plays without a hiccup with an adjustment layer on it. And if we go 2 layers, still in full quality, pretty much perfect. We go 5 layers in full quality here, still playing back perfectly. And from experience, it only starts to choke here at 6 layers, full quality, where it just falls apart. It's kind of to be expected. Let's go down to half. And we're absolutely fine again. And half quality just keeps on playing. And the A7 III 8-bit footage is pretty easy to edit for most machines, so that's to be expected. And if we scrub through this just little bit of test footage here with some fades and random transitions, you'll see that it scrubs through perfectly. So that's all pretty standard and to be expected. So now let's move on to the M1 Max at full quality. So we're playing back completely smooth until we get up to 6 layers. So it made it to about the same amount of layers there as the PC in full quality. Let's drop it down to half. And again, playing back nice and smooth. That is 7 layers there of A7 III footage. And again, it keeps on going all the way up until we've got 9 layers here in half quality. And it's playing back smoothly as anything. And if you want to scrub, you can see that it's pretty quickly. Again, so let's move on to a little sequence, scrub through that. Pretty easy, nothing much to report, all very smooth. Playing through at 3 times, let's go back to full quality. So on the PC we've got the A7S III 420 sequence up, and scrubbing in full quality is pretty good here. Pretty simple for it. And again, the 420 footage is much easier to edit than 422. And I don't see a hell of a lot of difference, to be honest, for the work that I do anyway. So let's go into full quality and play it with an adjustment layer. And it plays it perfectly there. 4 layers of A7S III 420, it's fine. Now we're on to 8 layers. So it's actually playing back better than the A7 III footage, which is surprising. And it really starts to struggle there at 9 layers at full quality. So if we then move on to the little sequence we've got over here, it's taken a while to update. There we go. If we just scrub through that sequence, we are losing a little bit in full quality, but the scrubbing's still decent enough, I think. And again, let's play it through 2 times. Absolutely fine in full quality. No problems at all. So again, 420 footage, pretty easy to edit. Okay, so this is the 420 footage. Again, plays back pretty smoothly. I'm not even going to bother playing it with 1 track because it's going to smash it. So let's go start here at 5 tracks. 6, still nice and smooth at full quality as well. 7 tracks. 8 layers now of 4K 10-bit 420. Going up to 9. Took a while to play there. I think it might jutter at 9. Yeah, it jutters at 9. Pretty much the same as the PC there. So Not much differences there. And in our little sequence here, let's scrub through full quality. Pretty easy for it, to be honest. No real differences. So let's get on to the hard stuff. So A7S III 10-bit and 422. This footage has been an absolute nightmare to edit with my PC, at least off of external hard drives. I haven't tried it off of my new internal hard drive, which is NVMe, which is inside there now. So let's give it a go on the PC first. And let's just play it straight away without an adjustment layer in full quality. So pretty smooth so far. That's good. And then let's add an adjustment layer to it in full quality. Now we're on to 5 layers. And that's also playing back fine. And it really gets stuck there at 6 layers. To be fair, that's pretty good for this kind of footage. I wasn't expecting it to get that far. When I've been editing from a SanDisk Extreme, it barely even plays one stream of it, so I'm actually very surprised in full quality. It's playing almost 6 streams of 4K 10-bit. So moving over to our sequence here, and you'll see that the scrubbing isn't very smooth, to be honest with you. It's maybe just about enough, but it's not the smoothest. So let's go over to our sequence and just play that back with the fades. Takes a while to play after pressing play. And that seemed fine. The fades are perfect. Let's play that 2 times. And you see the fade kind of stutters there. And then the PC really struggles to keep up. So where this really stutters is when you're playing it at 2 times and you've got a fade or a transition in there. So let's go over now to the M1 Mac and see how it compares. Okay, I've got to be quick here because my A7 III is about to overheat by the looks of it. Standard. So we've got the A7S III 10-bit 422 up on the M1 Mac now, and let's put that into full quality, up the brightness a little bit, and scrub through that. If we scrub through, you can see it's almost flawless on the scrubbing. So let's start with 2 layers, 10-bit 422 with adjustment layer, absolutely fine. Let's do 3 layers, really nice and smooth. 4 layers at 2 times quality, still not even touching the sides. 5 layers now. Oh, sorry, that's 6. So 6 layers. So the M1 Max and MacBook Pro is completely fine with 5 layers of A7S III 10-bit 4K, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. Let's go over to our sequence now. Play it back in normal speed. Seems completely fine. Scrub through a little. Again, really nice and smooth. And if I go 2 times, you'll notice if I play it back at 2 times, when it hits that fade, it doesn't actually crash as much as the PC. It just kept up with it completely fine. Very small difference, but when you are dealing with big projects with lots of transitions and effects, I think being able to play it at 2 times and go through it quite quickly without it stuttering is definitely a benefit. Okay, so rising up the ranks of the hardest formats to play back, now we're on Canon R5 8K footage, which is quite difficult to play back. So let's start on the PC, and we're at full quality here. Just gonna press play. The results are varying quite a lot here. I just did this test and it played back nice and smooth, and now it's just barely playing at all. So R5 8K footage just killed my PC. Let's try it on the M1 Mac. Okay, so final test on the M1 Max here. We're doing R5 8K footage. Let's get into it. Full playback. Nice and smooth. Absolutely nothing like the PC experience I just had, where I just destroyed the machine. Let's go 2 clips. Again, 2 layers of R5 8K, absolutely fine. 3 layers. No way, surely not. Okay, this is pretty crazy. We're on 4 4 layers of 8K R5 footage now in full playback, and it's still playing back smoothly, no drop frames. 5 layers, are we going to get past? I've only done up to 6 layers here. There you go, 6 layers, 8K footage from the Canon R5, and it's playing back nice and smoothly. And just in case you're wondering about that 8K Monstro footage, I did download it off of the Red website, and in initial tests, the PC actually handled it better in full quality with no frame drops, whereas the M1 Max, there were some frame drops in that. So that's all my tests done. I'm really impressed with how the M1 Max performed. This has been excellent for editing, particularly off external hard drives. All the tests I've done today were with the internal NVMe on the custom PC and the internal hard drive on the M1 Max as well. But editing off an external hard drive is definitely more of a pleasurable experience with the M1 Max. There wasn't actually as much differences as I thought there were going to be compared to some of the reviews I've seen online. But the M1 Max, obviously with the export time of the H.264 was great. Again, if you can let me know why the 422 didn't export as well as the PC, it'd be quite nice to know something like that. But in general, it performed really well for a laptop, and again, it's on 68% battery when I started this video, and now it's on 42%. So in that whole time, and we've been recording for about 2 hours, including all my mess ups and everything like that, it's gone down by 26% in a battery. We've been exporting, we've been playing back 422 10-bit files for about 2 hours, and again, we've only gone down 26% battery, so pretty crazy. There's a few people out there on YouTube saying this isn't a miracle machine, and that definitely is the case. If you've got something like a PC that you've custom built and you've put a fast hard drive in it that you can edit from, it's going to be cheaper and it's going to be similar performance. But this is a MacBook, it's a laptop, it's on battery, and there's been 0 fan noise for the whole time I've been making this video. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. This is portable, so this is churning out the same power as something that's sat down there, and it's just a huge tower PC. So yeah, pretty crazy. I'm thinking of making a few more videos like this, maybe concentrating on Premiere Pro, but maybe going towards some other softwares. So if there's something that you'd like to see, then leave it down below in the comments, and I'll make sure to include it in my next video. If there's any mistakes I've made, again, I'm sure you'll point them out, but let me know, and I can sort of do another test and put them in the comments section or in my next video. If this has been useful for you, hit the thumbs up button. If not, hit the thumbs down button twice. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, and thank you for watching.